Hi, Super Beanie-man here, and welcome back to that one bullshit PlayStation Platinum Trophy Unlocked, the show where I take a look at my most recent Platinum and look back at all of the trophies that I had to collect in order to unlock that shiny Platinum trophy, and help you decide whether you should play it, plat it, or just downright avoid it. Trophy Overview. So Cobra Kai, the Cobrai Kai Saga continues, has a total of 48 trophies for you to collect, which includes 1 shiny platinum trophy, 3 gold trophies, 6 silver trophies, and 38 bronze trophies. So there's a lot of ones to pick up there. And I think for me, it took me around 35 hours, so you're probably looking at a 30 plus hour platinum here if you want to try and go for this, as there is a lot of things to do and multiple playthroughs of the game are required in order to get all of the trophies. So usually in past episodes I would go through every single trophy in the list, but I kind of feel like that just makes the video a bit too bloated, because some of them, like the story progression ones, you don't really need to have any advice on those because they're just playing through. So instead, from now on, I think I'm just going to take a look at the worst trophies in the list, the ones that are going to cause you a lot of problems in your quest for the platinum, and hell, I may even point out some of the more fun and exciting trophies in the list that are actually enjoyable to unlock. But for now, let's take a look at some of the stinkers in the Cobra Kai list. So one of the first bullshit bits about this trophy list is that you have to play through the game twice with either dojo, the Cobra Kais or the Miyagi-Dos, and these determine what trophies you can unlock, and there are also certain challenges tied to each dojo, so you need to be aware of what things are as you're playing so that you don't miss any of them for that specific dojo, because after completing the game with one dojo, you get a new game plus where you pick the next dojo. However, once you finish that, you are stuck with that second dojo. You can't actually switch back to the first one at any point. So there are trophies like Cobra Kai Never Dies, which requires you to finish Daniel with Johnny's ultimate move. And as well as that, there are also challenges with the alternate one where you would do it with Daniel against Johnny. And if you were to miss those because you say you picked Miyagi-Do first and you didn't do it during the fight, and then you went on to do the new game plus as Cobra Kai, you'd actually be locked out of that challenge and you wouldn't be able to do it. And for me, that is just absolute bullshit, which would just force you to play a new game on a new save file in order to go back and do that level. Thankfully, the other boss related trophies in the game give you the chance to do it with either dojo, so those are okay. Speaking of problems with the bosses and trophies relating to them, another one that gave me trouble was the You Kiss With That Mouth, which happens during the Kyler boss fight, as you're required to slam his face into the floor while being mounted on his back, and that one is actually just really tricky and quite frustrating. So the Kyler boss fight happens a couple of times throughout the game. You get a few chances to do it, and you can go back to the missions and replay them to fight him at any time. However, it's just really annoying to do it because he often calls in a load of his henchmen, the skeleton crew, so they will just always be around you to hit you and usually interrupt you when you're trying to do the attack. And it's also quite hard to actually get him to fall flat on his face to begin with, because every attack you do that will knock him down will often just cause him to fall on his back. So you have to try and figure out the trick to getting him to land on his face in order to then climb on his back and slam his head into the ground. And trying to do that while you're in the middle of a boss fight is quite annoying. So the trick to it is to actually try and just punch him to stun him and then grab him. And if you can throw him over your shoulder, so you would need to go to his back and grab and throw from there, that should throw him onto his face. Then you need to quickly try and walk up to him, tap the, I think it was the L1 button, and then press square in order to slam his face into the ground. And that is quite tricky, especially when all the henchmen will just come over and either just hit you and prevent you from grabbing him. And that one just really started to piss me off after a while. But eventually, with a bit of luck, I did get it. So let's take a break from all the doom and gloom with the bad trophies in this list and talk about a more fun and skilled one, and that would be the No Mercy Bronze Trophy, which requires you to get 120 hits in a single combo. So this being a side-scrolling beat-em-up, there was naturally going to be one of these sort of trophies, and I always quite enjoy these because it's quite a nice little mini challenge for you to try and see how high of a combo you can get. And this one in Cobra Kai is fairly easy to do, though it will seem quite intimidating at the start, but the more you play and the more dojo members of your team you unlock and the more abilities you customise with them, the easier this becomes, and you'll soon be getting 200 plus hit combos. So the best tip I would give for this trophy if you're having trouble is to either use Hawk for the Cobra Kai team or Robbie for the Miyagi-Do team, as they have some great personal attacks that will just do lots of damage to enemies as well as lots of hits in them, so you can unleash one and maybe get 20 hits from that attack alone, which is always useful. The personal and dojo attacks also make you invulnerable while they're animating, so if you do think you're about to get hit and the combo is about to be lost, just do one of those moves and it'll keep you safe temporarily. You can then just carry on doing normal attacks or wait for some more moves to recharge, and the sort of combo break timer is quite generous really, because you can walk around for a bit before you lose the combo. That's enough for the nice trophies. Let's get back to those platinum problems, those annoying trophies that may hinder your progress, and one of those was the Karate for Defense Bronze Trophy, which requires you to parry 10 attacks without taking damage. So a parry is done by pressing circle when you see the enemy's head sort of flash, indicating they're about to attack. So that's kind of easy enough as it is. However, when trying to get this trophy and do 10 in a row, I'd often run across enemies that just wouldn't attack, or I wouldn't be able to parry their moves, such as the large fat guys who do the belly flop, or the flower girls' flower swipe, which made it more annoying than it needed to be. This is also tied to one of the challenges for one of the belts for one of the other trophies in the game, which requires you to complete a whole level using only parries or throws, and this one was a real fucking headache and a bit of a nightmare. So I chose this Morrison Street level as it was the shortest one in the game, and it didn't have any enemies that I couldn't really deal with easily enough. However, when parrying enemies, sometimes Daniel would do the turtle's throw into the screen, or the character would do a slam like the Hulk, and whenever it did this, if it damaged or killed an enemy nearby, I kind of felt like it was voiding the progress on this challenge, so it just made it more awkward than it needed to be, because the thing in this game is, enemies will rarely attack at times, they'll just walk past you, and enemies will often just walk together with each other, so they're always on top of each other when you're going to do the throws and parries, and you can't really determine what parry move you do, it just seems to be random, so it just made it more of a ball ache than it ever needed to be. Thankfully, if you do grab them, I recommend using Daniel, press X to spin round to their back and throw them with circle. That seemed to be a lot more successful in getting the challenge one done for me. But yeah, that one was just a real ball ache. So this next trophy was definitely one of the more frustrating and challenging ones in the game. The fear does not exist in this dojo trophy, and for me it was the most bullshit one, and I'd even made that one bullshit PlayStation trophy episode about this because it's just awful. So the aim is to get through an entire level without taking any damage, and I had done this multiple times on the shortest level, Morrison Street, keeping my health full at all times, and I just really didn't know what was going on. I was using Robbie as he had the best personal skill moves because his attacks are just way too overpowered and you can deal with the enemies in this level easily. However, every time I got to the end of the level, I would never actually have the bonus for not getting hit, and the trophy would just never unlock. And after playing it and doing the level perfectly several times, after spending hours learning it, I realised that when you're doing the ultimate moves for the personal and dojo skills that leave you invulnerable, you can still actually get hit, and even though you don't lose health, it counts as a hit, voiding the trophy. And for me, that was just bullshit, and it made this trophy just an absolute nightmare to try and get. It's definitely the worst one on the list by far. It took me a couple more attempts before it actually unlocked, and when I did finally see that score go up and I got the trophy, I was so fucking happy. So I think there are actually free collectible trophies, but the one that you'll be going for the most is the Cobra Kai Wiki trophy, which requires you to find 90 of the 99 collectibles hidden throughout the game. So a lot of these you'll just find either just floating within a level or hidden in some of the smashable crates, with one or two being hidden in certain secret rooms in certain levels, and each level will have multiple collectibles for you to grab. But the problem arises once you get close to the 90 required collectibles, as you'll find that there's at least one collectible in every mission that you just can't find. No matter how many times you run through it, you'll never find it. And at first I thought, oh, maybe this meant that some of the collectibles were tied to each dojo, and I was just raging that I just weren't able to find those collectibles. And it was only after I finished a mission with an S rank that I realised that one collectible per level is tied to getting an S rank, so you can only get it if you get an S rank. What an absolute joke. This made the collectibles trophy, which I thought was the last thing I needed, an easy trophy, just picking up all the collectibles, you know how it is, into a get S ranks on each level trophy. And I was just absolutely raging because I had just battled through the Streets of Rage 4 S ranks, and they were just tough as hell. Thankfully though, you don't have to collect all 99 of the collectibles, you just need 90. So if you did find every normal collectible in every single level, you wouldn't have to S-rank that many levels. And I would definitely recommend you doing the side mission levels, the smaller ones, instead of the main story missions, as those ones just drag on for way too long. The trick with these S ranks is to do all of the requirements, so you'll want to try and get a no mercy combo in each section of the level to give you loads of points bonus. You also want to make sure you do some ultimate kills, some environmental kills, as well as some parry kills, because if you get 5 of those each, you'll get another bonus. Also, make sure you stick to one character, so when you complete the level, the 3 other characters have got full health. That will net you another bonus. And make sure you finish level with all of your characters alive. If you can do all those requirements, you'll easily enough get the S ranks. It's just a problem that a lot of the levels drag on for quite a while, and it can be really frustrating if you do end up coming short and getting like an A+ or something. Then it really starts to grate. The biggest grind in the game comes in the form of these belt trophies, which require you to complete various karate challenges throughout the game. So the karate challenges are found within your team's dojo, so whether you're Miyagi-Do at the bottom there, or if you're Cobra Kai at the top. So if we go into these, you can see there's a section of your dojo where the challenges are. So you'll either have Kreese if you're in Cobra Kai giving you these challenges, or Daniel's wife if we are in Miyagi-Do. So it's the sand circle here, karate challenges section. And on this screen, when you first start the game, you will only have the warming up challenge set available, as all of these other ones will be locked. So these all relate to a different belt. So you can see there's like green, blue, black belt at the bottom, and each one of those is a different trophy that you can earn once you get all of the challenges done within that section. So one of the good things about this is, say we were to get this combo one done first while we've still only got this one available. Once we progress in the story and these ones unlock, the ones that we've already achieved will actually be ready to be claimed. So it's not like we could end up doing a 50 hit combo, but it's locked out, and then once we do unlock it, we haven't got it, so we have to go and do it again. It will give you those, so in that respect it's kind of fair. But for me, this was one of the more annoying trophy sets in the game, because some of these challenges were just ridiculous. They were either just really vague in their descriptions, or they just didn't really work right. So that's simple enough. So that group of challenges should be fairly easy. There's nothing in there really that will cause you too much grief. Onto the skill master ones. So in here, we're starting to get different ones for different characters. So finishing 20 enemies with Miguel or Robbie's personal skills, Tori skills, Hawk or Dimitri's, Johnny or Daniel's, Those will just come eventually as you play with them and unlock more of their moves. The dojo skills are the shared moves on L2 with a face button for every dojo's team member, so those will naturally come. Punch would be square, the kick is triangle, the jump button would be X, and the parry would be the circle move with L2. So just keep using them on enemies to defeat them with, and you will get those trophies, those challenges rather. Finishing an enemy with each of the ultimates. So this is another one that could potentially be missed if you don't use an ultimate for each of your first dojo team members. So there's a chance you might not do that, so make sure you do that, because that is one that you could potentially be locked out of by the end of it. Combo Freak is the next set. This only has a couple more, but these are a bit more tricky to get. So Brave and Admiral, these ones I found tricky to actually get the counter to go up. You need to get an A and B rating, 10 and 5 times respectively. Yet when I was doing this, I would get to 2 out of 5 for this one, say the A one. I would turn off the game, come back, try it again, and then it would reset me to 1. So I think for these two, you need to do it in one single session. Not in one level, but just in one single play session before you turn it off, and you should be able to get those. Those are Can't Touch Me, kill 30 enemies without taking a hit. That one can be quite tricky, because that's a lot of enemies to try and kill. I would suggest going on one of the earlier story missions, so maybe the first one at the golf course, mini golf thing, or maybe even the mall, as enemies won't be as aggressive on those, and you won't have more of the tricky ones like the bikers or the Topanga students to deal with. So if you are struggling with that, go on one of those first levels and you should be okay. For the environmentalist section, we have 15 challenges in here. So this one requires you to use the arcade big sign. So that's just environmental attacks, basically. Taking out an enemy on the sign by the arcade, and out on the streets there's the stretchers. Sunglasses stands there in quite a lot of levels, so you'll easily be able to get them. Lockers will be in the school, as will the trophy cabinets. I only really saw them in the school, but there was enough in that bit, especially at the end with the Tori boss or the Sam boss fight. There's quite a few on the back wall there that you can get with that. Again, kicking enemies into walls, that's another one you can easily get when you just kind of walk into the screen. Like Crash Bandicoot style, there's often walls or railings to the side that you can do it there. Same with the punch. Onto the specialist ones. Okay, so we're getting a bit further through now. So these are where it gets a bit more tricky, I think. So this one is required you to kill enemies with ground attacks, but it's a specific enemy, and this is where it falls a bit short, because it's kind of hard to determine who's who, and it would be really nice if there was a picture or a video showing you the move playing, so you actually knew what enemies it was. And that's what I struggled with a few of these, because I didn't know who was the right enemy to be doing it on. So yeah, we've got like running attack for the goons, skeleton ones are throw, so they're easy to distinguish who they are. The baseball bat skeletons are just, again, another easy one. The big bone ones are just the fat guys. Security guards are the guys with like the police style blue uniform on, and they appear quite often, and they will often do that red attack before you get to hit them. Raymond was, oh god, who was Raymond? Raymond was like a henchman boss at the end of one of the street levels, I think. It took me a while to find out who he was. He wasn't really one in a story. He didn't come up with a cutscene either, so just be aware of that one. And just keep a look at the names on the top left corner when you're fighting. But I'm pretty sure he's in one of the street levels with the cars. Might be that one. Hippie hipsters are the woman with the flower. Angry emos are those emos that slide on the floor and just really annoying. Spray painters are the annoying girls on the rollerblades that will just stun lock you with the spray, and they can be a right pain in the ass. Make sure you punch them first to stun them, and then grab them and throw them. So you want to move behind them and throw a circle. The dojo students, so those will be not the blue ones, but the other ones, the ones that aren't Cobra Kai. Aerial kicks with the Topanga students. This one really pissed me off, because I did it first and it didn't count the move, so I thought it was loaded with different moves, but it is basically just pressing X to jump and then triangle. And the way I got it was to go on one of these park side missions, because there's a Topanga student right at the start and you get to fight her on her own, and I think there's a couple more like that throughout the level. And basically you want to just use that move all the time to damage her all the way until she's dead, and that should count it. So just jump with X and then triangle. I used Sam and Miyagi-Do to get that, but that was one of the last ones I needed. It was a right pain in the ass. Chop Shop guys with Johnny, I can't remember what they look like, apologies. Robbie with the baseball fans, so those are the girls with the baseball bat and the cap on. They're not the street skeleton thugs with baseball bats, they are specifically the girls with the baseball bats, and they will throw the ball at you. Football players are the ones dressed in the football gear and they will charge at you. The biker with a bottle, so a tip with this is if you're struggling to find a weapon, you can use like a bottle, you can use the wrench, and a load of other little smaller ones like that. If you pick up a bottle at the start of a level, for example, swap out the character to another one. That character will keep that in their hand, so when you eventually find the biker, you can swap back to him and throw it at them, but make sure you've damaged him all the way pretty much down to his last bit of health and then throw it. Watch out for the cans, because some of the cans, when you throw at an enemy, will actually heal them, and that will just really piss you off if you do that by mistake. So make sure it's probably the bottle or the little wrench or things like that instead of those cans, because they're not reliable. But yeah, just remember you can swap a character out and he will keep that weapon on him until you swap back. Saves you trying to go through the level with it in your hand. Onto the surgical group. Okay, so these 17 in here. So posh moms are the moms with like the bag and the glasses, and they will call in more enemies on their phone. So they're easy enough to get, you just need to make sure you're doing it with the right character. Skeleton lords are the bigger ones, the really giant ones that you have to like kill with a baseball bat or something like that. Just make sure you get the last hit with Daniel and you should be able to get that. A suited man with a baseball bat, so he's that one with like the briefcase that will block you, and he's a right pain to kill, and he'll often call in more enemies, but just make sure you get the last hit with a baseball bat. The baseball bat's quite good because you can get about 6 hits in before it breaks, so you should be okay if you haven't got the health right down. Derek, I can't remember who he was, apologies. Brooks, I think he's the big fat guy with the blonde curly hair, so just make sure you kill him. Xander was another enemy boss, I think. Graham, I think he's in the LaRusso Auto, maybe? Sean, I can't remember who he was, apologies. Chris and Mitch, those are some of the kids in the school, I think. Same with Bert and Nathaniel, they're some of the kids, I believe. Yeah, so we've got more characters to do here. The Trey one, Can't Touch Me 3. He's a boss fight at the end of a level, but there's a load of other enemies in the area at that point. But you're okay to take damage from anyone else but Trey. So don't think if you get hit, you just immediately need to pause and restart the level. As long as Trey himself doesn't hit you, you'll be able to get that one. Kyla's face, that's one we mentioned earlier as being a bit of a pain. This one beating Yasmin, which is in the beach level, and she like gets healed by the hippies. You don't have to just use those 2 characters, you can use the rest of your team. Just make sure you finish her with either Tori or Sam. Same with this one with Sid. Same with Tom Cole with the kick. A simple basic kick for that one. Armand with skill. He's the big fat guy who's the landlord for Johnny Lawrence. So now onto Rivalry Dominance, 4 in here. So this is the big story missions basically. So you need to make sure you kill the character with one of those characters. So they're good in that you can use either Cobra Kai or Miyagi-Do one. So you can use either Dimitri or Hawk to take out the other one. Sam or Tori can be defeated by each other, and so on. So those are okay, they're not too bad, you should be able to get them. And if you do miss them in your first playthrough, you can get them in your second playthrough. Onto the last one, Karate Champion, only 4 in here. So 120 hits in a single combo. We've covered that, that's okay. You'll be able to get that one no problem by the time you've got through your 2 playthroughs. 34 years later, be sure that you do this in your Miyagi-Do playthrough, because you will miss out on it otherwise. You just need to kill Johnny with Daniel's ultimate move. So make sure Johnny's health is all but gone, a tiny sliver left, and you should be able to get this trophy. And it's really long, you basically fight every boss up to that point, and it takes a good 30 minutes at least. And I got his health down to almost last bit of health, and I did the move and it barely took any health off him at all. And then I was just stuck, and I tried to kill the enemies in the area to build it up, but I ended up accidentally killing Johnny, and that meant I have to do another playthrough of that level. I had to revert to the old save and go back. So just make sure you've got his health all the way down to like the last punch basically, and then use the ultimate. If you are struggling to get the ultimate because you've used it throughout the level, try and parry all the henchmen in that area of the final boss fight, because that'll build up the ultimate quicker. Onto karate is for defense. So that's the parry one that we mentioned earlier. Again, that's a pain to do. The whole level just throws or parries. The final one, challenge accepted, completing 50 of 50 challenges. So that's just a natural one that you'll get. So those are quite bullshit. There's a few in there that are just really awkward because of the descriptions are misleading. The fact that you don't know exactly what the moves are. Flying kicks, what does that mean? Is that just a jump kick, or is that, you know, flying kicks and aerial kicks? They're the same thing to me, but no, that's a different one. So it's really awkward at times to know what they are, and when they don't go up, it can be frustrating to realise what's going on. And worse, that you have to complete a whole level for them to count. You can't just do them and quit out. It's only on the last one of each group that you'll get the trophy anyway, mid-level. But every other one, you'll have to finish the level for it to count. And the fact that you can't just do a move on an enemy, pause the game, go to this menu and check to see if it's gone up is also annoying, because if you try and do that, it'll take you right out the level back to this screen, which is just stupid. You should be able to check them on the fly. You can see them going up. So yeah, this is an annoying one, and it will take you a while. This is like a big list, but thankfully they're all split up into different trophies, so it's not just one big trophy that something could go wrong in. So you should be able to get them all, but just make sure you do some of the missable ones like that. Get that done as quick as you can. So I think that pretty much covers all of the annoying trophies in the game that I think will be roadblocks for people's platinum journey. So all that's left to do really is to give it that final rating of whether I think you should play it, plat it, or just downright avoid Cobra Kai. The Karate Kid saga continues.